Greetings to everybody on this special day of Mother Helene's birthday. We are glad some of us could gather. Today's topic is the gunas, developing them and going beyond them. And this is from the talks on the Gita by Vinobha Bhave. I was trying to sorry, there was an error here. So I was trying to gather some information for us about these concepts of Sat, Rajas, and Tamas. And when we looked at the Ashtavakra Gita, it doesn't give much importance to this as how Bhagavad Gita gives. Instead, Ashtavakra Gita focuses on the transcendent and the non-dualistic nature of the self. The message is that the self is pure consciousness. And the self is beyond these three gunas. That was the concept that touched me when I tried to gather information about the Ashtavakra Gita. And what does Ashtavakra Gita talk about the gunas is? It believes that the self is the pure consciousness and the gunas do not have such influence on the pure consciousness. That means you have to go beyond. That is what they called it as Gunatita in Gita. Because Ashtavakra Gita's perspective on the gunas is that they are part of the illusion of this world. But Bhagavad Gita teaches us how to navigate and transcend the gunas to achieve the liberation. Ashtavakra Gita points that a person who truly understands their nature as it's pure, they just see the gunas as nothing but a play of the Maya. Gunas are nothing but a play of the Maya for one whose mind is abiding in the pure consciousness. So for this Ashtavakra Gita, true liberation, it is not about performing one's sattvic qualities or performing from the sattvic qualities or perfecting the sattvic qualities. Liberation does not lie by just arriving at peace, purity, and knowledge, but realizing that the self is not the one that is experiencing this world. It is not the one who is acting. So it lays importance on jnana over karma or bhakti. According to this Ashtavakra Gita, a person of true wisdom knows that they are free. They are just an unchanging witness of the world, including the gunas. They are also witnessing the gunas. That is also a good concept. That we have to go beyond these three qualities of the Sat, Rajas, and Tamas. And the self is just witnessing these qualities that exist in the being, but it is absorbed in the Brahman. So because of this realization, the body, mind, and everything, all these qualities, all dissolves. But the thing I noticed was, they say you have to arrive at the state of devotion or state of true knowledge that you are the witness. But how to arrive at that state of being? Simple knowledge cannot bring it there, because I may have the knowledge, but if I am bound by the past karma and the impressions, even that knowledge doesn't happen. And by self effort of meditation, Even though they say the mind, if it is absorbed in the pure self, it releases itself of the impressions. It is a long process. Only in the Sahaj Marg method, because of the pranahuti that was invented by Lalaji Maharaj, perfected by Babuji Maharaj, transmitted by the great masters to the being's core, those impressions, the bonds are loosened. So the being comes to that state of ultimate knowledge. So the being is able to transcend these three states of Sat, Rajas, and Tamas, and is able to abide in that state of full consciousness that it is just a witness. So, but the Vedas being the ancient texts, they don't lay so much importance on these gunas, because in those days it was always in that the frequency of these three was so refined. They only talked about the elements. So they looked at as fire, water, and earth as the symbolic representations of these satguna, rajoguna, and tamasguna. Like fire can be seen as creating rajas activity, and the water also, its representation flows, and it is also connected to rajas. Earth symbolizes stability, solidity, and the laziness, inertia associated with this. The Vedic concept of the Prakriti and Purusha is the backdrop for the gunas. So the Upanishads significantly developed the concept of gunas, not from the Vedas. From the Upanishads, they developed this concept of the gunas. They present them as the fundamental qualities of the nature that binds the individual soul to this earth plane. So the Upanishads emphasize the goal of transcending these gunas, which are Sat, Rajas, and Tamas, that is the quality of purity, goodness, light, and all that. Rajas is this passion, energy, activity. Tamas is this inertia or laziness. So, Upanishads emphasize the goal of transcending these three qualities, three gunas, to realize the true nature, which is the pure consciousness. And that pure consciousness is beyond these qualities. So, Upanishads say sattva, the quality of goodness, purity, light, because that quality is associated with knowledge, peace, wisdom, and spiritual growth. So, a mind that is dominated by this frequency of Sat is calm, clear, and is conducive to self realization. However, even the Upanishads point out that even this state of Sat can be a form of subtle bondage. So, if one becomes attached to this peace and happiness and the knowledge it brings, then you are stuck by that state of the Sat, the truth. So, every moment, that's why they said, Neti, 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 you have to go beyond all these. But here we are trying to understand, so we have some clarity. And this quality of rajas, as they call it, which is as passion, energy, and activity, it is the driving force behind the desires and attachments, ambitions, and restlessness. This state of rajas fuels both noble and selfish activities, actions in us. And it is the cause of all the changes and motion in the universe. Activity, rajas. Even though it is essential for action and creation, it does lead the being to suffering and dissatisfaction because of this constant craving and desire. So we have to go beyond this also. We have to transcend rajas. And tamas or tamoguna, as it is called, the quality of inertia, its ignorance and darkness. It is associated with heaviness, we know it's laziness. It obscures the truth and prevents any spiritual understanding. It is the root of sleep, dullness, and it is the root of the attachment to the material world. So the Upanishads state that all beings and phenomena are composed of these three gunas in various proportions, just like how our master says all the elements are in different proportions. The three gunas are in different proportions. So the unique combination of these gunas determines the personality, actions, and destiny. So if somebody is has too much of the thumb quality, they can't even get up, they're lazy. And somebody who has completely rajas quality, they're completely going outward into the material world. So the ultimate goal, according to Upanishads, is not simply to cultivate this state of the Sat, which is purity, peace, and calmness, all that. It is to become what they call is, as we learned, Gunatita. That means you have to transcend the influence of all these three states and rest in the state of pure consciousness. And this will lead us to ultimate liberation. So the Vedas introduce the elemental principles of the material world, the elements. The Upanishads refine this understanding into a profound philosophical framework to understand the human nature and its path to spiritual freedom. That's what they do. And what did Sahaj Marg do? What did heartfulness do? It is giving a way to us to arrive at those states of Gunatit. They all explained, individuals achieved it, but with the help of the pranahuti and with the help of the will of the master, working, releasing the impurities and the blockages and releasing us from the bonds, we are able to transcend these three gunas or the states, the sat, the rajas, and the tamas, and transcend them. And because of that transcending nature, we are transcending the matter, the energy field. And when the mind is resting in that pure consciousness, the absolute, we are lost and we move to that state of witnesshood. So, in this, our journey is automatic. As long as we meditate with the help of transmission, we don't need to know any of these things. We start to see the changes. But you must want it. People are attached to their desires, attached to their weaknesses. That is where we have to work on with the techniques to let go of these weaknesses that will help us to move forward. So Vinobha Bhave says, cure for rajas, too much activity. Living within the bounds of Swadharma, the duty. You have to live doing exactly your duties. Thereafter, we should turn to rajas. Rajas too is a terrible foe. It is the other side of tamas. In fact, rajas and tamas should be considered interchangeable terms. After resting for long, the body feels like doing something, and after too much activity, it seeks rest. Thus, this activity follows the laziness and vice versa. Wherever one of them is there, the other is invariably present. Like bread in the oven with the flames below and the embers above, man is caught between rajas and tamas. They toss him towards each other and together ruin them. His life is spent in getting kicked around by rajas and tamas like a football. The main characteristic of rajas or activity is the itch and ambition to engage in all sorts of activities. People can't sit idle, they have to do something. They have to go to a party, they have to go to a movie, they have to watch something. They cannot just be silent and observe. There is an intense desire to do daring deeds. Rajas gives rise to limitless hunger for and attachment to action. Then it becomes impossible to withstand the onslaught of desires and passions. Man wants to do something or the other. He feels an urge to move mountains, to fill up lakes, and to create new ones in the deserts. He wants to dig a Suez Canal here and a Panama Canal there. He is completely seized with such wild ideas. There is no thought except that of doing this or doing that. A child takes a piece of cloth, cuts it up, and tries to make something out of its pieces. Activities impelled by this rajas are of the same kind. Man is then never satisfied with what exists and wants to interfere with everything. So that is the quality of the rajas. When rajas is too much, we are never content. And quality of sat is peace and contentment. He sees a bird, wants to fly and makes aeroplane. He sees a fish, wants to live like it in water and makes submarines. Thus, in spite of being a human being, he feels a sense of achievement in emulating the birds and the fish. Although residing in a human body, he yearns to enter into the bodies of other beings to have different experiences. Some wants to go to Mars. The mind is thus never at rest. It wanders all the time. That is why when Rajas is active in somebody, they cannot calm down. They cannot be peaceful. Their mind is continuously going on and on and on. A multitude of desires possess man like an evil spirit. Not satisfied letting things alone, he feels that if the things remain in their place in spite of him, it is an affront to him. A wrestler cannot contain the energy within him and bangs anything which comes in his way without rhyme or reason. Rajas is always gushing forth, driving man to do this or that. It makes man dig the earth and bring out stones which he then calls diamonds. It makes him dive deep into the sea and bring out rubbish which he then calls pearls. He then pierces holes through them and through his own nose and ears as well, so that those could be worn there. Why does a man do all this? All this is under the influence of Rajas. Another effect of the Rajas is the loss of stability and patience. Rajas wants immediate results. A slight obstruction, therefore, makes man give up the activity. Under the influence of Rajas, man starts new projects endlessly, leaving earlier projects incomplete. He is thus always vacillating between different activities. As a result, nothing concrete is achieved. Here, our masters utilize people with this kind of rajas activity. They become good businessmen. And as long as they're somehow the devotion and sat is balanced because of the meditation, they're able to become good instrument for the mission. Those all rich people that are contributing to the growth of the mission on the earth, they have this quality of rajas. They're so active. But the beauty is the masters are utilizing that activity instead of thinking it is bad and making everybody as calm saints going into the jungles and achieve nothing. They can only achieve their own progress. But they are utilizing those kind of beings also. That is why there is nothing is good or nothing is bad. It is as it is. We simply transcend it. Another effect of the Rajas is the loss of stability and patience. Rajas wants immediate results. A slight obstruction, therefore, makes man give up the activity. Under the influence of Rajas, man starts new projects endlessly, leaving earlier projects incomplete. He is thus always vacillating between different activities. As a result, nothing concrete is achieved. A Rajasic activity is invariably marked with fickleness, wavering, and lack of firmness. A man with Rajas is like a child who sows a seed and impatiently digs after a few minutes to find out whether it has sprouted. He is impatient to have everything quickly and lacks restraints. He does not know how to plant his feet firmly on the ground. Having done some work at a place and earned some recognition, he wants to go to other places seeking recognition there. Rather than doing concrete work steadily at one place, he prefers hopping from place to place in the pursuit of name and fame. His mind is fixed on that only. This lands him in a terrible condition. Under the influence of Rajas, man intrudes into all sorts of activities. He forgets his duty, Swadharma. If you notice all these kind of people like, um, what is this guy's? Apple founders, Steve Jobs. At the time of his death, He regretted that he did not spend time with his family. He did not spend time with his spiritual pursuit. So, in this achieving these external things, they forgot their own duty of basic needs of supporting the family. And you observe this in all businessmen. They don't pay attention to their family. The family is lacking for love from them, lacking for their attention and time. So, this is how we need to understand this quality of rajas properly. And when this rajas is backed by the meditational practice, continuously refining that quality of rajas, then they become like our brothers who are very productive in the mission. They have high condition, but yet they're able to achieve. So, under the influence of rajas, man intrudes into all sorts of activities. He forgets his swadharma. In fact, performance of Swadharma implies giving up all the other activities. Karma Yoga, as enjoyed by the Gita, is the cure for Rajas. Everything in Rajas is unsteady and fickle. If the water falling on the mountain top runs down in different directions, all of it disappears eventually. But if it flows down in a single stream, it becomes a river, gathers strength, and benefits all. Similarly, if a man concentrates all his energy and applies it to a single task in an orderly manner, instead of frittering it away in a variety of activities, it will prove fruitful. That is why pursuit of Swadharma is important. One should therefore always reflect upon one's Swadharma and devote all the energies to it. It's like our housewives, most of us, even though we are serving the master and the mission, we do take care of our children. We do serve our husband. We do the household activities. We are not running away like sannyasins, leaving the husband and the family and going towards the Sat. So one should therefore always reflect upon one's swadharma and devote all the energies to it. The mind should never be drawn to anything else. This is the test for swadharma. In this context, when we think of Mother Meera, she was very evolved, highly evolved. But until Babuji came and liberated her, totally put her into the highest region, she was there and she asked Babuji, why did my Lord Krishna not come to me? Why didn't he hear me? Somewhere she left her husband, left her family, left her kingdom, went roaming for the Lord outside. So just like Lord Buddha, when his wife asks him after he becomes the Buddha, she asks him only one question. What you achieved, could you not have achieved it being in the kingdom, being a father and being a king? He said, yes, I could have achieved it. But at that time, I did not know. That is what repentance is, if we connect it. When we made the mistake, we did not know. We were not aware. That's why we made a mistake. Now, in this state of awareness, we know why we made a mistake, how we made a mistake, and we don't go back and repeat. So, if Mother Meera or Lord Buddha are reborn in this world, they are going to be Grihasthas because now they know they don't have to let go of all this. They can still be in the family, do their duties, whether the wife is good or annoying or cooperative, they can still become the masters. And that's what Sahajmarg masters are proving to us. So the mind should never be drawn to anything else. This is the test of Swadharma. Karma Yoga does not mean excessive or stupendous work. Karma Yoga is not about how much you work. Karma Yoga of the Gita is something quite different. The distinctive feature of Karma Yoga is the performance of your duty, Swadharma, which is in tune with our nature and which comes to us naturally and inescapably without any attention to the fruit and progressive purification of the mind thereby. Otherwise, activities are continually going on in the world. Karma Yoga means doing everything with a particular frame of mind. Sowing seeds in the field is not the same as throwing them here and there. There is a world of difference between these two actions. We know what we gain by sowing seeds and what we lose by throwing them away. Karma that the Gita prescribes is like sowing the seeds. There is tremendous potency in performing one's duty, which is one's Swadharma. Here, no effort is too great. There is therefore no scope for running around helter and skelter. How to determine one's duty, one's Swadharma? The only reply to this question is that it is natural. It comes naturally to everyone. The very idea of going in search of it is strange. When a man is born, his Swadharma also takes birth. Swadharma, your duty, like one's mother, is not to be searched for. It is already there when one is born. The world existed before we were born, and it will be there after our departure. We are a part of the stream of existence. Service of our parents and our neighbors is our naturally occurring duty. That is why Babaji Maharaj once said, somebody went and told him, I am doing social service. Babaji said, very good. But he said later, what is service when I am serving my husband, it is not service, not social service. So also when I am serving my brothers and sisters of this world, it is not social service. It is our duty to serve wherever we are, whoever is in need around us. Service of our parents and our neighbors is our naturally occurring duty. We also have the experience of our inborn natural urges. They are common to all. We feel hunger and thirst. It is therefore our natural duty to feed the hungry and give water to the thirsty. Serving others, doing good to others is thus our duty, which we do not have to go in search for. In fact, if we find that there is a search on for Swadharma or our duty, it is a sure sign that there is something wrong. Something is being done which is neither rightful nor righteous. A man devoted to service does not have to search for the type and form of service. A lot of times our people complain, oh, they are not letting us serve. They are only doing this and that. So we have to understand that the service comes from the heart. Nobody needs to tell us what to do. Whatever your heart prompts, you should get up, do it. A man devoted to service does not have to search for the type and form of service. He finds his work laid out before him, but it has to be borne in mind that what appears to have some come unsought is not necessarily a righteous duty. Suppose a farmer comes to me at night and says, let us shift the fence of my farm by a few feet so that the area of my farm will be larger. We can do it unnoticed. Although this work has certainly come unsought before me, it is clearly not my duty as it is unethical. The Chaturvarna, that means varnas are like occupations. He believed that all should have the good qualities of their occupation. It is not like the caste system that he is talking about. The Chaturvarna system appeals to me as essentially because there are naturalness and duties in it. Nothing can be gained by evading one's Swadharma. It's like people who are born in the caste of Kshatriyas, they are the warriors. People who are born in the caste of Brahmins, they are the teachers. Other people who are serving, they are the servants. People who are born in the kingly clan, they are the rulers. It's like depending on your caste or your duties, it has been divided as four systems from the ancient times. Nothing can be gained by evading one's Swadharma. Like, Buddha was born a king. His duty was to be a king. My birth gives me my parents. Can I say that I do not like them? Whatever I might feel, they will continue to be my parents. The parents' calling comes naturally to the children. It is a distinguishing characteristic of Chaturvarna that the people should continue to follow their ancestral callings, provided they are not unethical. This system has now decayed and adherence to it has become difficult. But it would be nice if it could be properly reformed and revived. Nowadays, the first 25 to 30 years of life are spent in learning a new vocation, and that thereafter people try to get a job or start a business. Thus, one spends the first 25 years of his life without doing anything else, and this education has absolutely no connection with life. This period is taken as the time for preparation for the life ahead, which perhaps means that it is not part of life. Life is to come later. It is as if one has to get education first and live thereafter. Learning and living have thus been divorced from each other. But anything unrelated to living is akin to death. The average expectation of life in India is 23 years, and people spend 25 years in learning a vocation. The best and the most precious period in life, which should be used in fulfilling oneself through energetic and enthusiastic service to the society, is thus wasted. But life is not child's play. It is indeed tragic that a valuable part of life is wasted in finding a calling. To avoid this, Hinduism has devised the concept of Varna Dharma, that is, doing like a carpenter born should master his skill of carpentry, stuff like that. So we will stop here and we will continue. And we are reading from Talks on the Gita by Vinobha Bhave. We are on the chapter Gunas, developing them and going beyond. Let us all now meditate.